In this tutorial, we'll cover how you create and send an invoice on CleanerPlanner. The example job that we're going to create an invoice for is shown here on the planner. It's been marked as done, but not paid. So the job shows up on our Debts tab with the outstanding amount owed. And to create an invoice for that job, all we need to do is select the Invoice option next to the job. But before you do that, you just need to check your settings to make sure that your company information is correct. So go to the Settings menu, which is the spanner icon in the top right. And under the Company tab, just make sure that all the information you want to be on there is there, as this will display on your invoice. And when you've done that, go to the Invoices tab. And here you're able to add a logo to the invoice. You're able to set the reference prefix, add in a footer if you'd like there to be a footer. That could be payment terms, bank account details. You can change the size of the logo and so on. And once you're happy with that, select Save Settings. We're then back to the Debts tab, where now that we've checked that, we can select Invoice. And that brings up the Select Transactions to Invoice window. Now in this case the job has only been carried out once, so we only have one transaction to invoice for. But it's worth knowing that if this job had been completed before and hadn't been invoiced for previously, this is where we can add those past transactions to this invoice. But as mentioned, in this case we're only invoicing for this transaction. It's already selected, so all we need to do is select Create Invoice, which opens the Edit Invoice window. So this is where you can set your invoice up the way you want it. You can set the reference, date, you can edit how items appear on the invoice if you want by clicking on them. You can add a note, so for example, so once you've got the invoice set up the way you want it, you have a few options. You can preview and print the invoice by selecting Print, and that gives you a preview of the invoice. You can go back and make changes at that point if you need to, or you can print the invoice out. You can also download the invoice, which downloads a PDF copy of the invoice to your computer. It's also possible to email the invoice to your client directly from CleanerPlanner, which can be a huge time saver. This does rely on you having linked your email account to CleanerPlanner, so we've included a link to a tutorial covering how to do that in the description of this video. But once that is set up, all you need to do is select Email. You can then check the recipient address, set a subject if you want, or you can leave it and it will default to the invoice name. And then you can create your message to accompany the invoice. Now it's possible at this stage to create a reusable, personalised email message template using the placeholders here on the right. All you need to do is click on the placeholder to insert it into the message. So for example, we can say Dear and then select first name and then continue to write our message using any of these placeholders that we like. Once you've set that message, it will then be saved for the next time that you email an invoice. Once you're happy with it, you can select Preview to send a copy of that email to yourself, or if you're ready to send the email, just select Send Email. And once you've done that, you have a sent date for that invoice, and you can then select Save Invoice. You'll notice the Invoice option for that job is now struck through as we've done it. And if we go to our Documents tab, we can access the invoice that we've created. It has a sent status here, you'll see. We can click on it if we want to make any changes to the invoice and resend it. We can also from here mark the invoice as paid by selecting this Pay option. So that's how you create and send an invoice. You can find more tutorials on our YouTube channel, step-by-step guides on help.cleanerplanner.com, or you can contact us on support@cleanerplanner.com.